My daughter-in-law is trying convinced my son to throw me out of my own house, so I made them both homeless. My daughter-in-law Chloe moved into my house with my son Ryan after they got married, claiming it would just be for a few months while they saved for their own place. That was 3 years ago, and instead of saving money, Chloe had been working on her real project, which was convincing Ryan that I was too old to live alone and needed to be put in a nursing home so they could have my house. She started small by pointing out every time I forgot something. Did your mom already tell you about the dentist appointment? Oh, she must have forgotten, poor thing. She'd move my keys and then act concerned when I couldn't find them. Getting older is so hard, isn't it? Maybe we should look into those assisted living places just to have options. She'd tell Ryan she was worried about me living alone in such a big house, even though I was only 62. And in perfect health, Chloe would cook elaborate meals, then tell Ryan I couldn't handle kitchen tasks anymore because I'd left one pan in the sink. She'd invite her friends over and introduce me as Ryan's elderly mother, who needed constant supervision. When I'd correct her, she'd pat my hand and whisper to them that denial was a normal part of cognitive decline. She convinced Ryan to install cameras in the common areas for my safety, but really she was building a case that I was incompetent. She'd review footage looking for anything she could twist. Look, your mom stood at the refrigerator for 5 minutes yesterday. That's not normal, Ryan. She might be having episodes. If I took a nap, she'd document it as excessive sleeping indicating depression or illness. If I stayed up late reading, she'd say irregular sleep patterns were a sign of dementia. Ryan started believing her because Chloe was relentless. She'd wake him up at night claiming she heard me wandering around confused when I was just getting water. She'd point out that I was wearing the same shirt 2 days in a row when she'd hidden my laundry. She created these situations, then used them as evidence that I was declining rapidly. The breaking point came when Chloe scheduled a family meeting with Ryan's aunts and uncles to discuss my future care. She'd created a whole presentation about why I needed immediate intervention. She had photos of the house looking messy because she'd staged them when I wasn't home. She had a list of supposed incidents that were either completely fabricated or wildly exaggerated. She even had brochures for memory care facilities that she'd already visited. I sat there listening to my son explain how Chloe had opened his eyes to my deterioration and how they needed to take action before something terrible happened. My own sister started crying, saying she hadn't realized things were so bad. My brother asked if I'd been officially diagnosed with anything. Ryan said not yet, but Chloe had been documenting everything for when they needed to petition for guardianship. That word guardianship made everything crystal clear. I stood up and said, "This meeting is over. Everyone please leave except Ryan and Chloe." After everyone left, I went to my office and came back with a folder. I said, "Chloe, since you're so concerned about documentation, I have some of my own." I pulled out printed screenshots from the security cameras she'd insisted on installing. Here's you taking my blood pressure medication and hiding it in your room. Here's you putting dish soap in my coffee maker, then filming me confused about why it's not working. Here's you setting my alarm clock for 3 a.m., then recording me being disoriented when it went off. Chloe tried to interrupt, but I kept going. Here's the receipt for the storage unit where you've been taking my belongings, then telling Ryan I'm losing things. Here's the recording from my phone of you on the patio, telling your sister that you just need me declared incompetent. Then the house is yours, free and clear. Here's you Googling how to fake dementia symptoms in the elderly and power of attorney requirements. Ryan's face went from confused to horrified as I laid out 3 years of evidence. But the best part, Chloe, is this house isn't even mine to lose. I pulled out the deed. It's in a trust, and I'm just the trustee. The beneficiary is my nephew Ethan because Ryan already got his inheritance when I paid for his college and gave him $50,000 for your wedding. This house was never going to be yours no matter how many nursing homes you tried to put me in. Chloe started screaming that I was lying, that Ryan deserved the house, that I was a selfish witch who was probably leaving everything to charity out of spite. Ryan tried to defend her, saying she was just concerned about my well-being, but I pulled out my medical records. Here's my physical from last month. Perfect blood work, perfect cognitive exam, perfect everything. Your wife has been poisoning you against me while literally poisoning me. I showed him the toxicology report I'd gotten after suspecting she was drugging me. Full story on channel. Link below.